Season 5 of Power Book 3, Raising Kanan is shaping up to be the most intense and dangerous phase of Kanan Stark's journey so far. As the tension escalates in Raising Kanan Season 5, the trailer begins to peel back deeper layers of the power war that's silently brewing beneath the surface. This isn't just about street control anymore. It's about territory, influence, and long-term domination. Every move being made now feels strategic, like pieces shifting on a chessboard, where one wrong step could mean total elimination. And right at the center of this storm stands Kanan, no longer shielded by youth or inexperience. What makes this season feel more dangerous is how isolated Kanan is becoming. The trailer suggests that he's starting to operate more independently, making decisions without Rak's approval. That shift is huge, because Rak built her empire on control, especially control over Kanan. Now that grip is slipping, and when power slips from someone like Rak, she doesn't just accept it, she fights to reclaim it. This sets up a psychological battle between mother and son that feels just as intense as any street conflict. We also see hints that Kanan is building his own network, forming connections that don't necessarily align with Rak's vision. He's learning how to read people, how to negotiate fear, and how to command respect. But the trailer makes it clear, leadership comes with paranoia. The more authority Kanan gains, the more he begins to understand why Rak became the way she did. Trust becomes currency, and betrayal becomes inevitable. Lulu's arc also appears to take a heavier turn this season. Marvin's presence in the trailer brings another layer of intensity. His journey toward self-control and discipline has been one of the most interesting developments in the series, but Season 5 hints that his past tendencies toward aggression may resurface. The streets are getting hotter, enemies are getting bolder, and when pressure builds, old habits return. If Marvin snaps again, the consequences won't just affect him, they'll impact the whole organization. Another major element teased is the rise of external threats. Rival crews are no longer afraid of Rak's dominance. They're testing boundaries, pushing into territories that once felt untouchable. The trailer shows that these rivals are smarter and more organized than before. They're not just using force, they're using strategy, infiltration, and psychological warfare. This makes the battlefield far more complex, because attacks aren't always physical. Sometimes they come through deception. There's also a strong sense that law enforcement is evolving in its approach. Instead of brute raids, investigations seem more calculated, more patient. Authorities are studying patterns, watching movements, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. That slow burn pressure adds suspense, because the characters know they're being watched. They just don't know when the hammer will fall. Emotionally, Season 5 looks heavier than anything before it. The trailer emphasizes the cost of power, the loneliness, the fear, the constant need to look over your shoulder. Kanan, especially, appears to be losing pieces of himself. The confidence he's gaining is mixed with emotional detachment. He's learning how to shut people out, how to suppress guilt, how to make ruthless choices without hesitation. And perhaps the most haunting theme running through the trailer is legacy. Every character seems aware that their actions now will shape what comes next. Rak is fighting to preserve what she built. Kanan is unknowingly building what he will. As the trailer for Raising Kanan Season 5 reaches its final stretch, the tone shifts from tension to outright war. Everything that has been building beneath the surface now feels ready to explode. The streets are no longer operating on quiet deals and hidden threats. The conflict is becoming visible, louder, and far more ruthless. And what makes this phase terrifying is that no one is fully prepared for how brutal the fallout will be. Kanan's transformation stands at the center of this storm. The trailer strongly suggests that he's no longer learning the game. He's actively shaping it. His mindset has evolved into something sharper and more dangerous. He's thinking long-term, calculating risks, and making moves that even surprise the people around him. But with this rise comes emotional detachment. The humanity he once held onto is fading, replaced by survival instincts and hunger for authority. It's the clearest sign yet that the boy we met in earlier seasons is disappearing, and the legend of Kanan Stark is being born. What's even more gripping is how this evolution affects his relationship with Rak. By this point in the trailer, their bond feels like it's hanging by a thread. There's unspoken resentment, power struggle, and mutual distrust. Rock sees the danger in what Kanan is becoming, not because he's weak, but because he's becoming strong in ways she can't control. And control has always been her greatest weapon. The emotional conflict between them feels inevitable, like two forces destined to collide rather than coexist. Rack herself appears more cornered than ever before. Enemies are closing in, business fronts are under pressure, and her authority is being questioned from multiple sides. The trailer paints her as a queen, defending a throne that's slowly being surrounded. And when powerful figures feel trapped, they make the most extreme decisions. There's a looming sense that Rock may cross lines she once avoided, sacrificing alliances, burning bridges. One of the most suspenseful elements teased is the scale of the coming conflict. This isn't just a local turf dispute anymore. It feels bigger, more organized, more calculated. Rival factions seem prepared to dismantle Rack's empire piece by piece. And instead of quick strikes, they're playing the long game, weakening supply lines, turning allies, and striking where it hurts the most. It creates the feeling that war isn't just coming, it's already begun in silence. Law enforcement's shadow also grows darker in this final portion of the trailer. Investigations appear closer than ever to exposing key operations. There's a sense that authorities now understand the structure of the empire. They're just waiting for the perfect evidence to bring it all down. That pressure adds urgency to every decision the characters make. One slip could mean prison, or worse. But the most haunting theme closing the trailer is inevitability. Every choice, every betrayal, every act of violence feels like it's pushing Kanan toward the future we already know awaits him. The trailer subtly reminds us that this story isn't just about present power. It's about the making of a figure who will one day become one of the most feared names in the power universe. By the final moments, the message becomes chillingly clear. Family will be tested, empires will be shaken, and not everyone will survive the storm that's coming. Trust is dying, power is shifting, and the streets are preparing for a blood-soaked reckoning. Season 5 isn't just raising the stakes, it's igniting the endgame of Kanan's origin story. And as the war for control reaches its peak, one truth stands above all. In this world, power isn't given, it's taken. And only the ruthless get to keep it. As the final moments of the Raising Kanan Season 5 trailer unfold, the atmosphere becomes heavier than ever, not just with danger, but with destiny. There's a powerful sense that every storyline, every rivalry, and every emotional fracture is racing toward a single explosive collision point. The calm before the storm is officially over. Now, it's about who strikes first, and who survives the aftermath. Kanan's presence in this closing stretch feels different, commanding, feared, and emotionally distant. By the time the trailer reaches its final thematic notes, Raising Kanan Season 5 no longer feels like a story about growth. It feels like a story about inevitability. Every path the characters have walked, every decision they've justified, and every betrayal they've survived now seems to be converging toward consequences that can't be escaped. There's a chilling sense that fate is closing in, and no amount of power can fully stop what's coming. Kanan, in these closing impressions, stands at the edge of complete transformation. The trailer frames him as someone who has fully accepted the rules of the world he lives in. There's no hesitation left in him, only calculation. He understands loyalty is temporary, fear is leverage, and power is survival. But what makes his arc so gripping is that even as he grows stronger, he grows more alone. Leadership in this world demands emotional sacrifice, and the trailer suggests Kanan is paying that price without looking back. There's also an unspoken realization settling in. Kanan is no longer just reacting to threats, he's anticipating them. He's studying moves before they happen, positioning himself steps ahead. That mental evolution is what makes him truly dangerous now. He's not the future of the Empire anymore. He's becoming the architect of what comes next. And that shift places him in direct ideological conflict with Rock. Rock's presence in this final stretch feels both powerful and tragic. She's still commanding, still feared, still strategic, but there's an emotional weight behind her authority now. The trailer hints that she's beginning to recognize the distance growing between her and her son. The empire she built to secure his future may ultimately be the very thing that takes him away from her. That emotional undercurrent adds a layer of tragedy to the power struggle. This isn't just business. It's personal loss unfolding in slow motion. The Thomas family dynamic appears to reach its most fragile point. Loyalty.